Hi, I'm Maria with the Oak Initiative, and I'm sitting here with Congressman Ralph Norman of South Carolina, and we are going to be talking about protecting your right, the individual's right to vote.
Thank you, Maria. Voting is a sacred right that this country was built on. Voting is something we've got to fight to keep above board and honest. It's under attack right now. All of us should be able to go in a booth to see a ballot of candidates and to vote privately to who you want to elect you, who you want to represent you in state government and in higher federal offices. You've got a big push now to go to absentee voting or same-day voting, if you ask Ms. Pelosi. And some of that's brought on by the coronavirus. I know in South Carolina in 2018 we had 16,000 absentee ballots, and I'll explain that in just a minute. And today we've got 28,000 for the primary on the 9th next week. But absentee balloting is a two-part process. You mail an application in. They verify who you are with a number that you send either your driver registration or your voter card. They send it back. If you're valid, they send it back, and then you mail in your ballot. It's opened the day of the election or the day after, depending on how many. What's being pushed now is same-day voting, where you can't really control that. Because you give somebody the opportunity to go gather up all these ballots and present them the day of the election, and explain to me how you can verify any of that. You've got a big push to do away with the voter ID.
Yes.
Now explain to me, when I get on an airplane, I've got to present my driver's license with my picture. And it's interesting, recently I had a mask on. They required masks to fly. They said, "Sir, you got to take your mask off." That made perfect sense to me.
Sure.
When you go into a drugstore and buy drugs, you've got to give your ID. I can't just go in and buy whatever I want.
Sure.
Now, that's not discriminatory.
It isn't.
It makes sense.
Yes.
Now, they're flipping the narrative where somehow that doesn't apply. That due to the coronavirus and other things, same-day voter registration, and there's a push to let felons and basically let anybody vote, which undermines our democracy. We do that, we're giving away a right that has stood for 220 plus years.
I want to ask you about ballot harvesting because that has been a big problem, and it really enlarges corruption in the voting process. Would you tell everyone a little bit about that?
Let me tell you how that works. And in not all cases, but this is the basis, the genesis of how ballot harvesting works. Let's say I've got a particular section that I want to go door to door, and hand people a ballot and say, "I'd like for you to vote. And do you mind, by the way, voting this way?" You harvest those ballots. I take them up. The person never has to take them in. And
meaning the voter does not.
The voter does not have to take it in. I, as their representative, take all the ballots in. Look at the fraud that potentially can be there on both sides.
And an ordinary citizen, just anybody off the street, can go in and pick up ballots. It's not a representative like you. You said you, but anyone can do this kind of thing. Pick it up, and it's so that is a problem.
It's a problem, and you can skew the elections whichever way you want to go. Now, what continues to shock me? Ask the average voter who their representative is.
They don't know.
I don't know. I said, "Well, who's your city councilman?" I don't know. Who is your, and I did this yesterday, I said, "Who's your congressman?" Because she was real upset she called me from Alabama, real upset with a particular bill. I said, "Ma'am, I don't live in Alabama, but, I'll try to help you." But I said, who is your congressman? Crickets. Didn't hear a thing. I said, well, do me a favor. Find out who your congressman is. I know most of them. Hopefully they're Republican. Hopefully they're conservative, but I don't care who it is. I will go to them to help you with your particular issue. I said, do me a favor. And the same thing we've been talking about. I said, get a group together, and if this issue is that important to you, get others, sell why you think it's important to your other members, and go to the congressman. I'll talk to him, but you go. Get him in the home district.
Sure.
We'll get this. We're working 42 days the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. This is June 3rd. How fair is that?
Yeah,
we're not even
exactly.
going back. That's a product of Miss Pelosi and what she wants to do, what she's doing. But no, ballot harvesting has got to be stopped. The only way we stop it is get vocal about it. It makes no sense. You know, they're portraying this as we have elections every day.
Yes.
No, we have elections every 4 years. We plan our vacations. We plan our businesses. It's crazy not to think that one day of the year we can't vote for the most powerful position in the land as president, or take it on down. Every 2 years, every congressman is up.
Yes.
Every 6 years, every U.S. senator. But the bottom line, you have a particular day that doesn't happen every time. We go to sports events and sit for 4 hours.
Exactly.
We can't go make time. The polls are open in every state that I know of.
Yes.
The precinct, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You tell me why that's not fair.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things that I have heard about ballot harvesting, and you know about this as well, is that it is presented as a way to be convenient to the voter. You don't have to leave your home. You know, just fill out your ballot and hand it to somebody, a virtual stranger. It could be someone you know, but a stranger. So they're trying to make this whole election not about the duty and freedom of the citizen, so it seems, but about making it easy. What do you have to say about that?
In the South, we say that dog doesn't hunt. That dog won't hunt. That argument is crazy.
Yes.
Is it easy? It may be easy, but for the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
That's the exact wrong reason. Again, if we can't go for one day and either making an effort to get to the polls to people that are spending your tax dollars.
Yes.
Then I would make the argument that that's not an argument being easy.
Yeah.
That's a recipe for disaster, for fraud, for putting people in office that you don't want, that will not represent you. You have a right and an obligation to put people in office and work for those people who will do what, in your mind, they should be doing as elected representatives.
Yes.
And they have sold that narrative, though,
Yes.
Maria, but it's the wrong narrative to take. People are buying it hook, line, and sinker.
It's crazy.
And you just have to explain it to them.
Thank you so much, Congressman, for explaining this issue to us.
My pleasure.